Welcome to the Live and Work More Human podcast.
So exciting to hear you say those words, Lex.
I know it feels kind of bizarre after 3 years of We Are Human Leaders to be back in 2026 with a brand new rebrand.
So exciting. And I'd love to hear from you. Like, we've obviously had a lot of conversations about this, and we came to this name, and it was really a moment of like, this is it. This is what it needs to do. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience of like how we've shifted, how we've come to this decision to rebrand and what it means for the podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it wasn't a decision we took lightly. Obviously, we were quite attached to the We Are Human Leaders brand and the We Are Human Leaders podcast. It's been just the most incredible vehicle that's helped us to connect to a community, well, all around the world, really, over the last 3 seasons. So it was something that we sat with for quite a while, but it was something that I guess it was a combination of things, wasn't it? So, like community feedback, we'd really leaned into our community of listeners. And the one thing that we were being told is that despite the fact that we know leadership is at all levels and anyone can be a leader, a lot of people didn't see themselves because of their formal position at work represented in the title of We Are Human Leaders. So what we really wanted to do was rebrand to something where everyone felt themselves represented. So Live and Work More Human just felt like it resonated for people regardless of their formal job title. And we just wanted to create this invitation into the conversation. So it's been a bit scary, but here we are, day one.
So excited. I think it's really, to echo what you're saying, I think it's, I think we kind of often would push back and say, well, leadership is simply if you influence someone else, you are a leader. Like, that's a very basic definition. And we've always talked about being human first and leader second. And I think a lot of the messaging resonates with a lot of people, particularly within organizations. But it was those conversations that we were starting to have with people who are perhaps consultants or entrepreneurs outside, students, different people in different places who perhaps didn't necessarily see themselves in that sort of way. And I think it's wonderful now to have this reflection of what we're trying to do, which is to really live and to work more human. I think it also takes it a bit more broad as well, because we've often talked about leadership in the work context, but we're broadening it really to be how we live and sort of understanding, I think, that sometimes it's a bit of an arbitrary split that we make between work and life.
100%. And I think a lot of the conversations we were having were really pertinent at any level of your career, whether you are, a new graduate who's entering the workforce for the first time, or maybe you're a senior executive. Some of the incredible guests we had last year and some of the incredible conversations we had were skills, strategies, tools, things that really help you become a better person first and foremost. And then that sort of gets integrated into work. So I love this idea that that split is quite arbitrary. And what we're really trying to talk about here is realistically how we become the best version of ourselves and the incredible impact that can obviously have on our career as well.
It really is that win-win-win, isn't it? That it's something that we talk about a lot in our consultancy work through human leaders as well, that it's like self-leadership is not selfish. Self-leadership is that sort of important step that we take through improving who we are and our own self-awareness and these different aspects of our leadership in our lives. We have that ripple effect. We have that flow-on effect. And I think that's something that matters a lot for us in the context of these conversations. And I think another through line that we often had in speaking with people was the impact of these skills and practices and frameworks that we've explored in the workplace, but also the potential for them to have really potent effects outside of work as well. So I think it's a really healthy, really exciting rebrand for us. It feels so aligned. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I'm super excited. And I love that point because we're human everywhere, right? So the skills that we're learning, whether it's in the workplace setting or that's the context where you're, learning the practical skills or the things we're talking about. We had a lot of people who were parents, who were mothers, wives, husbands, fathers, brothers, and using some of these skills to sort of help them in their personal relationships as well. I know, we've had episodes on unblocking personal biases and uncompeting. So all of these beautiful things are so applicable in our lives, so far beyond work that we know that the lines, well, they're not just blurred, they don't exist. We're human everywhere. And so I just think it's so fun now that we've sort of broken that barrier a little bit about having to be too leadership focused. to invite the conversation to really be like, who are we in the context of work and how can we become a better person? And I feel super excited. I feel like it gives us a broader scope to cover some of the topics that our community have connected to us and requested as well. So it's going to be a super big season ahead. So how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm so excited for it, Lex. I think it really does mean that I think, people will hear immediately. There's a bit of a shift in our questions. There's a bit of a shift in
Yep.
our lens because we're not just looking at sort of, well, how do we interpret this as a leader in a situation? How do we interpret this as a human in this situation? And I think that's really powerful. And I think it also just makes these conversations that we're having potentially much more impactful. And that's exactly what we're about.
Yep.
Um, we also have some other exciting news to launch this season with. Drum roll.
Drum roll. Yeah, we're super excited to welcome our first ever podcast partner, Humanico, into the fold. They are an incredible Australian based platform, intelligence platform that helps you, cut through the noise of all the disconnected tools and surveys that organizations might be trying to use to get helpful data on their employees, everything from strengths through to engagement, through to the kinds of work they love doing, the people they feel most compatible that they can work with. It really helps drive some of the insight into that so we can really create workplaces where people and organizations both flourish as a result. So that's a super big move for us.
It's really exciting, isn't it? I think what I loved was our conversations with the people at Humanico really just reflected that win-win-win approach. So I think that we're really
Yeah.
excited about, individuals, teams, organizations, society at large flourishing as a result of the incredible products that they offer. So I think it is just pure alignment in terms of pair of brands. So yeah, really
Yeah.
excited to see this unfold in 2026 as well. Is there anything else that you're excited about right now for the start of the new year, Lex?
Well, other than the incredible lineup of guests that we've already got on the book, so we're about to have conversations on courage. We're about to have conversations on habits. We have so many fun conversations in the lineup, ready to go. I think this year will be one where people really feel like there's so much they can implement at a personal level from our podcast. And we know that that flows out when we become a better person as a result of changing our behavior. That flows into our relationships, it flows into our work, and it flows into our leadership potential. So it really does start with us and it flows upwards. And I'm so excited just to have some of these conversations this season. What are you most pumped about this year?
Yeah, I love it, Lex. I really think it's often also, particularly if we're experiencing overwhelm, uncertainty, and I think these
Yeah.
themes are going to continue for a lot of us, being able to just focus on what can I do, what can I change. These are conversations that will absolutely ground you in really exciting, inspiring, research-based, practical ways to continue that journey. I'm excited to keep having these conversations with you and these incredible guests that we share the space with. It's going to be a great one.
I think so too. So, this is officially episode 1 of the Live and Work More Human podcast. Formerly, We Are Human Leaders. Welcome back if you've been with us for a while. Welcome in if you're new here. And we are super excited for the season ahead.
Welcome in. Thanks so much for being with us at Live and Work More Human. You can learn more in our show notes or visit liveandworkmorehuman.com. We'll see you next time.